This game key was provided by Sometimes You via keymailer for review purposes. Prison Loop is a horror anomaly puzzle game developed and published by Sometimes You and initially released on May 20th of 2024 on Steam and released on February 27th of 2025 on consoles. After the success of Exit 8, looping anomaly games became a dime a dozen. The more that came out though, the more they had to be creative to stand out from the typical affairs showcased in past anomaly games. Prison Loop is instantly memorable by being set in a prison and having a recognizable environment. Make routine cell checks and spot the differences in this twisting adventure to break out of the slammer. Games where you are trapped in temporal loops are always fun, but do you think you would want to be perpetually stuck in a prison? Spiral past the never-ending cells and find out what is wrong each go-around to finally escape this prison, literally and figuratively. While there is no story or any definite purpose for your actions, it is still fun actually going through Prison Loop. It is sort of odd that there is no underlying story or anything at all, given how easy it would be to introduce some sort of through line of being in this situation. Even just an explanation that you are a guard or an inmate that is trying to escape would have made the game more immersive. What's here just feels like a puzzle game, which is fine, but personally, I think it would have made the game more interesting to have a reason for you doing what you are doing. In Prison Loop, you start at one end of a hallway with multiple cells on each side of you. The number on the floor indicates what level you are on. Level 0 is the example you must use to examine the other levels. If everything is correct, you move forward through the door and onto the next level. If you find something out of the ordinary based on level 0, you turn around and move past the door behind you to continue to the next level. If you mess up and move through an incorrect door, you will start back at level 0. There are a lot of different things that can go wrong. There are prisoners in some of the cells, and sometimes they can be holding items or even be the size of giants. Vents on the ceiling can be missing, or a toilet paper roll in a cell will be extra large. Even more sinister happenings can occur, like the entire cell block could be on fire. I was surprised with the amount of differing anomalies Prison Loop had, and was always excited to open the door and find the next one. Graphically, the game looks a bit outdated, with the characters and objects having very rudimentary designs and textures. The staircase area especially showcasing this thought perfectly. You are in a prison, so obviously there are going to be a lot of monotone colors and flat surfaces, but more set dressing or a more complicated structure to the levels could possibly break up the monotony a bit. There isn't as much to the audio design either, with really the main thing you will be hearing is the beep and creak of opening up the door. I don't think a game like this necessarily needs music, as the empty air spreads tension through the atmosphere as you are trying to concentrate. This also works better for certain anomalies, like when the lights break and all of a sudden it's pitch black. Prison Loop is a good horror anomaly game, probably one of my favorites. The concept of looping in a prison is solid, and while it could be executed better by having a more interesting layout and by just looking better graphically, Prison Loop does a good job at conveying its purpose. Some sort of story or drive for going through this madness to begin with could help a lot in building a foundation for some sort of justification of playing, other than it being a spot the difference experience. Regardless, the varied and abundant amount of anomalies to find make Prison Loop a fun game to play within its genre. If you're a fan of games like this, I would gladly recommend Prison Loop. I give Prison Loop a 6 out of 10.